Hey guys, what's going on? It's Emmanuel here, back to another tutorial, and today we're going to talk about props in React.js. Now in React, props, which are short for properties, are used to pass data from a parent component to a child component. They allow components to be reusable and dynamic by enabling them to receive and render different data. Now in my Visual Studio Code right now, I have this H1 tag which is saying hello everybody. Now the first thing I'm going to do is actually create a component right here. I'm going to create a component. I'm going to call this component students.jsx. Now the next thing I'm going to do is actually create a functional component right here, and I'm going to make use of RFC from React snippets. I'm going to return back to my app.js file, and I'm going to import that student component right here, students. Then you can see right here we have a text of student right here. Our component has been imported in. I'm going to return back to my students components. I'm going to get rid of this student text right here. I'm going to put in a H1 tag, and I'm going to call this student name. Then I'm going to say the student name is going to be Emmanuel. I'm going to copy that down. Then I'm going to call this on student age. Then I'm going to say this student age is actually 16 years old. Then when I save that, you can see my web page right now. I have student name as Emmanuel, then I have student age as 16. I'm going to return back to my app.js file. I'm going to get rid of this H1 tag right here. Then we have just the student component in our app.jsx file. The next thing I want to do is give this student container a box shadow. So I'm just going to give this a class name. I'm going to give this a class name. I'm going to say this class name of student. I'm going to come to my app.css file. I'm going to say .student. It's going to have a box shadow of 0 pixels, 4 pixels, 10 pixels, RGBA of 000, then 0.1. And when I save that, you can see we have something like a box shadow in this text right here. Then next, I'm just going to give this a background color of hashtag F7. Now we can see our student card clearly. And finally, a padding of 7 pixels, then margin of 5 pixels up and down, there's 0 left and right. Now I'm going to return back to my app.js file. Now let's say we want to add another student card. We want to add another student details. We can copy this right here because React allows us to use a component more than once. Then when I save this, you can see right now I have 3 cards right here. Student name Emmanuel, student age 16, student name Emmanuel, student age 16, student name Emmanuel, and student age of 16. Obviously, Emmanuel is not going to be the only student in a classroom. We are obviously going to have other students. So we have another student called Terry, and we have another student called Jane. Now we're going to display the other students' details using the same student component. Now we are going to be doing that using React props. I can return back to my first students component. Now say it's going to take a property called student name. So I'm saying name. This name in this case is going to be Emmanuel. Then the age is going to be 16. Then I can copy that and paste that in another component. Paste in this other component. So this time around, this is going to be Terry. Sorry, spell Terry right. And he's 35 years old. I'm also going to paste it on the last student. I'm going to say this is Jane. And Jane is 25 years old. Now when I save that, you're going to notice nothing changes. We still have student name Emmanuel, student age 16, student name Emmanuel, and student name 16. Nothing is changing our cards. And that's because we have not made use of these properties inside our student component. So in our students component, we're going to say this is going to take an object called props, which is short for properties. I'm going to say props. Then instead of hard coding Emmanuel, I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to say inside this squiggly bracket, I'm going to say props dot name. Then instead of hard coding the age, I'm going to say props dot age. Now when I save that, you can see right here we have the first student name Emmanuel, age 16, student name Terry, student age 35, then student name Jane, then student age of 25. And just like that, we don't have to write this 3 times. We can write it once in this student component, then we reuse as much time as we want. The first time we call this component, we passed in a name of Emmanuel and an age of 16. Then the second time we called it, we passed in a name of Terry, then an age of 35. Then the last time we passed in the name of Jen and an age of 25. Now that's how easy it is to work with props. They allow you to reuse components over and over again by passing different properties to the same component. That way you can get dynamic values in the same component. And there's one last thing I want to talk about inside this component right here. Now you can see right here we are calling in props. Then anytime I want to make use of the props, say I want to access them, I'm going to call the object props, because this props is going to contain all the properties we are passing to the component. It's going to contain the name and age of this component. But there's a way we can actually make this code simpler by using object destructuring. While saying this student component, this props is an object that contains these values right here, name and age. Now, since this props is an object being passed to a function, we can actually destructure it and make use of the value directly. So I'm going to get rid of this props right here. I want to destructure the name and the age from these props. Then instead of using props.name, I'm just going to call on the name. Then instead of using props.age, I'm just going to call on the age. Then when I save that, you can see right here, everything still works fine. We have Emmanuel, age 16, Terry, age 35, Jane, age of 25. Now what we're doing right here in this case is that we are making use of object destructuring in JavaScript. And that's all you need to know about props in React. If you enjoyed this tutorial, give it a thumbs up. It's going to help the YouTube algorithm push this tutorial to more people who are going to find it valuable. And if you've not subscribed, ensure you smash on that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll be amongst the first person that get notified when I drop a new tutorial. I'll see you in the next video.